What's going on, guys? Welcome to today's video. We're not in the studio, so I apologize for that, but today we're doing something a little more exciting than just sitting and talking at a camera. We're comparing two lenses, the Sigma 24-70mm 2.8. That lens has been out for around a year now, and the Tamron 28-75mm f2.8. That lens has been out for a little longer. So basically it's the two budget options that are fairly comparable to the Sony G Master 24-70, and we're shooting on the Sigma right now. But I really want to dive deeper into the differences of autofocus, the differences of contrast with the lenses. So we're going to be using the same settings. We're shooting this video on two a7S IIIs. So the only differences that you guys should be seeing in the videos and the clips and the comparisons will be based on the lens characteristics and how it's performing and whatnot. Now, matching focal lengths with these lenses was difficult because the only two actual number readings on the two lenses that are equivalent to each other are 35 and 50. The 28 and the 24 don't match, and the 75 and the 70 don't match, so that only left 35 and 50, and then guesstimating to get them similar within the ballpark of each other. So the framing and the composition, hey, get out of my bag, hey, leave it. So the composition and the framing aren't really a thing with both cameras, because I mean, they were two different cameras and two different setups. Obviously nothing's perfect. I just wanted to put out the disclaimer that we did try to match focal lengths in every shot as closely as possible. So in testing the autofocus, what I observed was that the Sigma was more reliable and it was more consistent. The Tamron seemed to hunt, and it seemed to pulse and take kind of an initial few seconds, well, not even seconds, an initial half second to maybe a full second before it was confident that it had the subject. And so the focus motors felt more consistent to me. Obviously the build quality is a major thing. The Sigma is heavier, but it's also just more well built, so it feels like an actual quality lens, something comparable to Sony's native G Master offering, which costs like $2,500, $2,200. It costs more money, but you certainly do get a high quality design with the Sigma 24-70 that you really don't get with Tamron's offering. Now, the Sigma sells for $1,100 MSRP. I got mine for $949 before tax on B&H using my student discount. The Tamron lens costs, I believe, $879, and then on B&H Photo you can get it for $719. Overall, though, I have no complaints with either's autofocusing capabilities. There was one instance when we were playing outside where the Sigma all of a sudden just lost focus on Shane and the dog playing, but very quickly it regained it and was consistent for the rest of that portion of shooting. And don't worry, both a7S III's autofocus setting, the speed, responsiveness, eye autofocus, everything was matched on both cameras. For the indoor shooting, both of our white balances were set to the same incandescent preset. Nothing was tweaked in the profiles. We just shot all of the test footage in PP off, as Geraldine Dunn says, or standard picture profile. Right now we're in S-Log3. I don't know if you can tell a difference or not. But the Tamron seemed to have a more yellow greenish tint, whereas the Sigma kept the magenta. In my opinion, from what we saw in the test footage, just provided more color accuracy and sharpness. Now, if you haven't seen Geraldine Dunn's comparison on both of these lenses with the Sony 16-35 G Master thrown in the loop as well, I'd highly recommend it, but to overview and to just kind of regurgitate one thing that he said, I believe that the Tamron lens is sharper in the center, but the Sigma lens retains more sharpness throughout the entire image. And when it comes to the autofocus elements, I have used both lenses relatively extensively. I owned the Tamron for much longer than I did with the Sigma. I only had the Sigma for literally less than a week, but I'm loving it. However, when I started using the Sigma, I took some photos, and the autofocus elements really just seemed different to me than it ever felt on the Tamron. And to me, background rendering, the characteristics of a lens, is really important. So I was very pleased to see what looked like to me a slight difference in the autofocus elements. So Shane and I made a quick short sequence of me just doing some yo-yo tricks, shooting side by side, again, lens comparison, and I'm gonna play that right now for you guys. And it was a ton of fun to shoot because kind of had the more, cinematic vibe to it while displaying the capabilities of both of these lenses. Now I've owned both of these lenses. Ultimately, I'm gonna go with keeping the Sigma. I have the Peter McKinnon V&D Mist version 2, built for an 82mm thread. And I guess a very small part of that is me wanting to keep a lens that fits my filter without having to use a step-up ring, because I already do have one lens that I have to step up to use that filter. But I mean, the biggest thing for me is just the pretty astounding similarities that the Sigma lens has with the Sony G Master, but for more than half the cost, especially when you're a college student like me. And in my opinion, that's just something that I can't neglect, especially for only an extra $200 over the Tamron offering. And if you're like me, you're a mostly single lens shooter. You don't want to be swapping out tons of lenses. You want a zoom lens for the convenience of it. Well, then I would encourage you, especially, again, if that is your main lens, not to skimp out on the quality and to invest in something where the price makes sense as to what you're getting. In my opinion, the G Master just doesn't make sense at the price point that it's at. And the Sigma has some clear advantages over the G Master, but I feel very, very content as a professional and as someone who just shoots for fun in using this lens at every shoot, knowing that I'm not compromising on quality, but still having the capabilities to be convenient and not have to run around everywhere swapping out lenses. To me, it's just the perfect marriage between convenience and quality. So that's my recommendation, is to check out the Sigma. Go ahead, rent both of them if you are actually serious about looking into a purchasing decision. Let me know if you guys have any questions in the comments below. Please feel free to give this video a thumbs up. Thank you so much for stopping by my channel again, and we will see you in the next video.